Hey, what's up, y'all? Koski Fundy back at it once again, kicking it for you and for yours. You know what I'm saying? Much love to all y'all out there that have been subscribing to the channel. And much love to y'all out there that have been viewing the channel too, you know what I'm saying, on different, different social media platforms, expanding my base and things of that nature. And also a big special shout out to the ancestors, brother about to make his solo reunion pretty soon. So, I gotta give a shout out to the ancestors, been out here doing it pretty nice for me, you know what I'm saying? Much love and big shout out to them, making it around another solo year is a good thing. Feel real great, you know what I'm saying? Do a little bit of celebrating, a little bit of love. Like, that's something kind of lackluster on the videos as of late, but no excuses. We go out here, we gonna dash, we gonna do what we gonna do. And this right here is the Liberator Magazine in the series The Liberator, and it's a damn good magazine. I must say, you know what I'm saying. If you ever get a chance to go to find this magazine and try to read back on the back pages of it, it's some real good stuff in here, from Black cultural nationalism point of view. Now, I said before, this is the Liberator Magazine, July 1965. 4 months after Malcolm death, about 4 months of the death of Malcolm X. And we're going to look into this one story right here, Automation in the Black Community by C.E. Wilson. We're going to check out that story. That's the story we're going to dip into. Okay. Automation in the Negro. Will We Survive? By C.E. Wilson. Automation in the Negro is a two-part article discussing the consequences of new technology on the economic life of the Black working man. Part 1, which we'll be reading today, gives a brief history and analysis of the early introduction of new technology and its effects. Part 2 gives an outline of proposals on how to meet the challenges that technology demands of the Negro if he is to survive. When civil rights leader boasts of the defeat of segregation, while the administration spokesman making extravagant claim that the constitutionally guaranteed voting rights are now practically secure, while the American press hails the snail-like pace of desegregation, the average Negro everyday world turns steadily into a nightmare of frustrated hopes and crushed dreams. As the yoke of open oppression and exploitation is slowly lifted, the average Negro finds himself totally bound in poverty by impersonal, colorblind economic forces, automation, and changing technology. In the words of Tom Cann, the author of Economics of Equality, it as if racists have put the Negro in his economic place, step aside to watch technology destroy that place. Automation, the common name for a revolutionary new technology, is as profoundly different as the industrial agricultural production system of today as the factory system of the Industrial Revolution was from the feudal system of the 15th century. Automation can and does increase the amount of production while reducing the number of workers needed to do the jobs. Experts see the machines can take their drudgery and a monotone from many meaningless, boring tasks men do to earn a living. These same experts, as far back as 1948, predicted by 1967 there would be fewer jobs for unskilled and semi-skilled. The most advanced from the cybernetics technology will replace human controls with electronic controls. The Negro is now especially in peril. As a result of a century of poor education and training, the Negro worker is largely concentrated in those job areas and categories in which men are being replaced most immediately by machines. From the standpoint of the present structure of the economy, the average Negro finds himself unwanted and ignored. Middle-class Negroes, having fought to secure a better education during the post-World War II years, now find themselves competing with whites for very high-status jobs in which discrimination is most subtle and most difficult to unmask. The machine, which is needed no lunch period, no coffee breaks, nor vacation, and unlike human slaves, will not demand freedom, higher wages, or civil rights. Having provided the basis for American wealth and opulence, Negro common labor is now superfluous. Negro skilled labor is now competing to thrive, is now competing a competition threat. Negro professional manager job seekers let an already overcrowded market. A well-kept secret. Within this society, leaders wish to inform of their white citizenry. The facts are hidden, disguised, or distorted. While the information may be kept secret from white citizens, the same facts are made a complete mystery to the citizens of its chief victims, Negro inhabitants. From 1957 to 1963, most government and industry officials strained to keep a secret of automation and real impact. There were some vague hits and predictions, and contrary claims to the impact of the revolutionary change in production, automation on the laboring man. Conventional economists and social scientists, having only the vaguest idea of impact, led people to believe that the service industry, the traditional Negro jobs, will be absorbed, many displaced workers for new openings which will be created. While these claims are being widely circulated, Negro workers were losing their jobs. On the farm, new equipment made unskilled agricultural labor unprofitable. The displaced farm workers, many who were black, drifted into migrant farm work, the 20th century form of serfdom, or moved into overcrowded urban areas of the North and South. The period of 1948 to 1962 marked a dramatic occupational shift of Negroes from agriculture. Didn't think about that. In 1940, let's read that one more time. In 1948 to 1962 marked a dramatic occupational shift of Negroes from agriculture. While 21 out of 100 Negroes worked in farming in 1948, only 12 out of 100 were employed in 1962. A small mechanical cotton picker, for example, can harvest an acre of cotton in 6-hour man hours compared to 74 man hours for a hand laborer. The new farm equipment made the small independent farm a thing of the past as well. In addition, the government farm subsidies for non-production of produce, which began to pay in large sums to the big farm companies, possess a controlled vast acreage, thus further discourage small farmers, so they are forced out to sell and move out. In the factories, automated systems began to reduce the needs for vast skilled and unskilled and semi-skilled workers. In reducing the need for unskilled and semi-skilled workers, the industrial apparatus was, in effect, reducing the level of the Negro blue-collar worker back to 1948 level of the Negro factory employment. By 1962, more than 8 out of 10 Negro workers in a blue-collar factory job was unskilled or semi-skilled, while only 6 out of every 10 white workers were in this category. A runaway factory. In some instances, whole factories moved lock, stock, and barrel instead of in brand new quarters in other states where Negro employers will experience difficulty in finding suitable living quarters. The factories were lured away by tax inducements and tax abatements and various profit motives. In the service industry area, the disappointingly high level of the Negro employment was maintained during this period. Several industry jobs have been the traditional work for the Negro. Fully 3 out of 10 Negro workers were engaged in this area, while only 1 white worker in 10 was employed in services. Fully 80% of whites employed in the service industry were not employed in the household work field. Between 1955 and 1962, Negro employment in the service area increased somewhat, but the Negro worker found himself trapped in an area which, though rapidly expanding, was low paying and requiring only low to moderate skills. The total effect of this employment pattern, agricultural, industrial, and service area were gradually eased upward in the Negro employment rates for the period of 1955-1962. During this period, the official tally of the Negro unemployment rose from 8% to a full 11%. 1 in 10 workers, 1 in 10 Negro workers was out of work. An unemployment rate of 2.5, 1/4 times greater than that for whites. While white workers were suffering from mild technology displacement, Negro workers were already in a recession. Furthermore, behind the official figures, Dr. Charles Cullingworth, Michigan State labor expert, found a growing invisible army of unemployed. This invisible army was made of people who was being forced out of the labor market, not because they were not willing or unable, but because they were becoming too discouraged to even search for jobs. There is an old cliche that the Negro is always arriving but never getting anywhere. By 1962, the Negro worker had possessed the right back to the position he held in 1948. The percent difference between income of the Negro worker and the white remained consistent. However, wage salary dollar difference actually widened. Even if the Negro worker graduated from college, his lifetime earnings only equaled that of the white high school graduate. Let's read that one more time. Even if the Negro worker graduated from a college, his lifetime earnings only equaled that of the white high school graduate. Paradoxically, civil rights spokesmen tried to stimulate belief in the fiction that a Negro revolt was occurring. Wiley proclaimed that the Negro Revolution was a revolution of hope. The revolutionaries would not even challenge the basic American assumption or values at this point in history. These revolutionaries seemed more interested in gaining interest into the self-same oppressive system, which was tuning up for a change in the manner of production or ridding itself of unskilled workers needing Negroes. The early period of introduction of automation proved the accuracy of the sage observation of Murray Kempton about Negroes, that I had known very few who really understood what was being done to them. 1962 to the present, automation's secret is out. Despite continual efforts of society leaders to confuse the unwary and uninterested American about the pure effects of automation, the little people, black and white, have begun to understand. The white laboring man has expressed his fears and anxiety through his unions and other organizations. White union workers have already seen the mechanization of the mines as a resultant loss of jobs. Here's around now as the process of automation began catching up with the other industrial areas like glass, steel, chemicals, rubber, and machinery. The industrial unions have been hard pressed to arrive at solutions. Early pensions, no new openings, work speed up, entire business starting to start off the inevitable. By 1963, it was no longer possible for the Negro civil rights revolutionary to ignore the pleas of the Negro workers for jobs. The plight of the Negro workers was so pitiful that the Negro bourgeoisie class was forced to disparity in their basic education training. The education difference is apparent in so many ways that it's difficult to estimate the differences in terms of statistics alone. The result of the educational inequality is, however, that educational life chances of a Negro person are constricted, particularly to those residing in racial ghettos. Fully 75% of Negroes in urban areas now live in those racist contagious area ghettos. The present education of the Negro is an education for his role in the new automated society. The Negro role is to be one of uselessness, and he is equipped in schools to carry out that very role. How does the society plan to do a job retraining of the Negro? The society truly proposed job retraining when it never did basic life training. To use the freedom for Negro jobs. A slogan of March on Washington. Few of the civil rights organizations caught up to that conjecture, and even have produced studies about the Negro economic plight, particularly in terms of automation. It was just not a matter of lacking the current work skills that made it difficult for the Negro unemployed. The total sham of job retraining was working against the Negro worker. One study from the United States Department of Labor, Office of Manpower, Automation, and Training, dated December 1963, showed that the state and unemployment agents were insisting that Negro workers be better qualified than white workers before being admitted to the training programs. New machinery consistently being introduced requires a higher basic education from which Negroes are effectively barred. Comparison to the education alone of the Negroes and the whites does not provide a real clue to the disparity. We read that already. The new trends in white and deepens. The new machinery has introduced in a faster and faster rate since 1962. On the farm, for instance, 17 counties of Arkansas, typical of southern cotton economy, there was 482 cotton machines in 1952. In 1963, there are 5,061 cotton machines. The Negro tenant farm population dropped from 21,000 in 1952 to 6,000 in 1963. What happened to the other 14,000 Negroes? They left the farm, the county, the state in most instances. Situations like this have been repeated over and over again. In the factories, plant relocations, as I've mentioned, is still used as ways to reduce the number of Black and unskilled workers, as well as reduce the need for workers. One such incident was observed in the closing of 4 regional plants by a well-known paint concern. All of the 4 plants were replaced by a single ultramodern plant on the eastern seaboard. The number of production workers dropped from 4,000 to 400, yet production increased 25% and sale volume increased 40%. One bakery plant in Cleveland, the Sara Lee plant, employed 4,000 workers in 1956 and now has 400 workers in a new automated plant. And technicians suggest that the production could be maintained with new electronic equipment with only 60 workers. Planning for a regulated year-round production schedule reduces the need for an increased number of workers during rush season. It is also important to recognize that this reduction in the amount of manpower needed has occurred at a time when the numbers of potential workers entering or able to enter into the labor force is increasing at a record rate. Negroes in the service industry, too, are feeling some of the effects of general labor marketing, especially those Negroes in industrial cleaning operations. New machines now clean, wash, and wax floors in 2 operations, thereby making it impossible for a machine tended by one man to do one day's work of 10 to 12 workers working an old wash and wax method. Because of the reduction in the number of workers needed in the industrial area, whites are no longer so scornful of the service industry per se. They are gradually strengthening and widening their hold on commercial porter and handyman positions. The salary in the commercial cleaning comes concerned as considerably higher than normal Negro porter capacity. The household service payment jobs are still low pay, abuse, wage refuge for the Negro women who daily takes the opposite direction expresses to the suburbs and distant sections of the major city. As home builders use more special material to reduce the amount of household dust, and as non-drip dry iron clothes are introduced, as more synthetic processes and special freezer packaging invade supermarket shelves, the need for unskilled household help will be reduced. The numbers showed that between 1962 and 1965, Negro unemployment in a period of record-making and good period of government record-making good time has risen to the level of economists say at 20% of the Negro workforce. In some cities, Detroit, for instance, there's a rate of 35%, meaning Negro workers unemployed. In the words of the New York Times, unemployment of these proportions were in general will be a national catastrophe. Current proposals for relief. Some criticism of the government activity about automation has been outlined by an image building a talk of progress, proposal for special programs, and proposal of the Negro bourgeoisie, and special positions of responsibility and visibility. None has proven effective in combating the ravages of new technology. The talk of progress, by giving the impression that Negroes are doing better than ever, seems to obscure the reality that the Negro worker is dropping out of plain sight. Time magazine finds that the main source of Negro discontent is economic hardships, has assured us that unfortunately that this is one of the areas where progress seems more likely. More better jobs for the Negroes are on the way. In answer to this assurance, Tom Kahn answers an important question: more and better jobs for which Negroes and how many? The special programs to combat this widespread unemployment are often called poverty programs. These programs, by and large, are a bust and vulnerable to the political manipulation and often run by the very representatives of the status quo. Job retraining operation is a farce, and some critics have gone as far to see the Manpower Development Training Act of 1962 as mere sophisticated economic tokenism. The proposal goal of training 400,000 workers in 3 years is nowhere near the level of 1.1 and 2 million jobs, which the government manpower research estimated will be needed to create the offsets of the effects of new technology. Haru, Job Corps, etc., are merely token efforts to an approach of a massive problem of youth unemployment created by the fact that there is no need for youth, black or white, in modern industry. Others have proposed that a massive program of education is required. Such proposals indicate that individuals who advance these ideas believe that education, one of the culture's most conservative institutions, can take on a revolutionary role and posture. Still more ludicrous is this expectation that teachers, already mortgaged in the present status quo, will take on this new orientation when they themselves will be most vulnerable to competition from the very groups they are now asking to help. The proposals of the so-called radicals to solve the Negro workers' plight are warmed-over versions and make-worthy schemes of the 1930s. These radicals are trying to attract and advance legions of civil rights forces to their positions. Their proposals are built upon the concept of a democratic central government planning, an idea which do not have the support of the public at large, nor of its corporate leadership. In an unpopular essay on the civil rights, Joy Forlord of the Fund of the Republic wrote, "The attitudes of business and political leadership are still frozen against economic planning to secure the insecure, productive, and necessary work for every person who wants to work but cannot find employment in private industry." Summing it up, the plight of the Negro. In the period 1957 to 1965, has seen only the first two stages of the process of introduction to a new technology to the American production and service system. For the Negro, the period has been one of steady and increased suffering, increased reverberation, and mounting frustration. Automation has made civil rights cry of freedom now an inspirational myth. The future looks bleak indeed, and we project the findings from these first two stages to succeeding decades. While the civil rights movement is struggling desperately to win freedom from restraints, the Negro is losing his capacity to participate in his freedom to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Without an income, he does not possess the means to pursue life and liberty. The more advanced civil rights groups are bringing this question to the attention of a still reluctant white middle-class society, which clings to its bourgeoisie fantasy world slogan, "I got mine, Now you get yours. What is the job-producing potential of the civil rights forces? Professor Dillingham and Sly of Central Michigan University at the Popular Association of American Convention predicted that the integration movement is indirectly an answer to the unemployment. However, growing Negro political power, even if used to the maximum, does not appear capable of opening to the Negroes large number of current jobs, nor does it appear capable of creating new jobs. Let me read that one more time. When it is a job-producing potential of the civil rights forces, Professor Dillingham and Sly of Central Michigan University at the Popular Association of American Convention predicted that the integrationist movement is indirectly an answer to unemployment. However, growing Negro political power, even if used to the maximum, does not appear capable of opening to the Negro large number of current jobs, nor does it appear capable of creating new jobs. He predicted this back in 1965. Anyway, let's get back to this. The total effect of automation on the Negro is to make the chant, "We shall overcome," a mockery. How can a people overcome if the masses of the struggling people have gone the drain? Automation is seen as making the Negro go under, not overcome. And that's the end of part one of automation. That last quote I just read, though, was the backbreaker that brought it out the building to me, the way they predicted it back in 1965. The people from Central Michigan University, the integrationist movement is indirectly an answer to the unemployment. However, growing Negro political power, right? A lot of people actually got the Maxine Waters and the Barbara Lees and then Leonard Jeffries and people like that, no, not Leonard Jeffries, but Hakeem Jeffries, people like that, all the people up there, even if it's used to the maximum power, it does not appear capable of opening to the Negro large number of current jobs. So even with all that together, and this before the CSC even got formed, the Congressional Black Caucus even got formed. You know what I'm saying? So even when they use their maximum political power, it doesn't appear they are capable in large numbers to open up current jobs to people, to Black people. Nor does it appear capable of creating new jobs. Something you got to think about. You know what I'm saying? Something you got to think about. The things about how they really didn't happen. But this is a real damn good article. We're going to get to number 2 soon enough. You know what I'm saying? Because, just the part where the civil rights is voting good, but you know what I'm saying? But like Dr. Amos Wilson said, you fought to ride the bus. Now you're the only one person on the bus. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody got cars to move on. That can't happen. You can't really shut it down like that. You can vote, but you're homeless. You feel me? You ain't got the economic thing that was talking about. This thing we was reading right here talking about. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got the real thing that can really set you free, which is economic power. You know what I mean? So you kind of hold back and you're stuck, even though you got the right to vote. And plus, you really can't get the economic power because really they don't need you no more. They got other people that could take your place, maybe more immigration, DACA or whatever. Or, more, like I said, right in this case right here, more automation. You feel me? And your education level, because they ain't really put you on an education level type like that, you really not gonna get it like that off the box. You know what I'm saying? So, but you notice too, this still goes on today. That's why most of your people, like Jay-Z got a billionaire and stuff like that, and not knocking Jay-Z and like that, but Jay-Z's an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? Most of the African Americans that made that list, Oprah, she's on there or whatever, she's an entertainer. You feel me? She entertains. Michael Jordan is a sports entertainer. He entertains. You know what I'm saying? Basketball, sports, entertainment. Football, sports, entertainment. Rapping is entertainment. You gotta understand that. You know what I'm saying? So most black people that make it don't make it for industrial. Most black people over here in Americas, you know what I'm saying, up north and south, because are entertainers that make that list. You know what I'm saying? You get a couple of them, ones over there in Africa, as you see in the billionaire list. They they deal in concrete and shit like that. They deal in industry basically, you know, oil and stuff like that. But over here in Americas, we entertain. You know what I'm saying? You make your billions, you know, by unfortunately entertaining these white folks. And that's the system that never did change. You feel me? It never did change. Anyway, it's the Coast Gift Monday. We're gonna be dropping more knowledge for you and for yours. You know what I'm saying? Hope you enjoyed the video, you know, and understand the message in it. And subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, man. We up here blowing up out here. Peace.